it's Katie and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. If so, you can subscribe. The button is always down below. I post beauty, lifestyle, and panning, and even more content than that. Sometimes random things, a little wild card, I guess. And yeah, so be sure to subscribe. I post usually Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, typically at least. And today I'm going to be doing my makeup inventory. So this is everything that I have in my collection, my inventory. It's like I'm a store. God, I don't love inventory. Yeah, this is my makeup inventory. I've done these videos since 2019. So this is my third year doing this, and I've actually done 4 on my channel now because I did 2 last year. I did 1 in January and then 1 in June for the 6-month check-in mark. And I'm here doing 1 again. So this is going to be updated. We're going to see how we did compared to our mid-year check-in in 2020. And yes, this is the makeup inventory for 2021, and I'm super excited, and I'll kind of explain things in the video, so let's just get right to it. So I have my laptop here so we can do this. Okay, so first starting off with primer, I only have 1 in my collection right now, and that's the Rare Beauty one. I'm also debating on buying the full size of that, but I haven't done that. So this is everything I currently have in my collection at this moment, and I have a few makeup orders coming in, so I have added those numbers on since I've already purchased them. But since I haven't purchased anything else, I'm leaving those numbers off and stuff like that, at least for this update. So I currently have 1, and then last year at the mid-year mark I had 7, and 3 of those were minis. I've also decluttered 1 since then, but you're going to see that in the January empties later this month. Yeah, so that's actually a really good, I really got primers down. I panned a ton in 2020. If you missed any of my 2020 Project Pan videos, I will link those down below because I panned a lot of primers last year, and I'm proud of just having 1 in my collection. I am very picky about primer. I've become I pretty much like more of your average glowy type primers. So those are my favorites. So I don't know if this number will go up. If it does go up, cool. If it doesn't, that's fine too. You know, I'm not really picky about this. I don't really care if it goes up or if it goes down or if it stays the same. I'm not really too picky. I've probably said picky 5 times in the sentence, but yeah, that's just where we're at right now. So next is foundation, and we have climbed up to 6. Last year at the mid-month mark I had 4. 6 is a fine number. I have 1 coming in. I have a couple that are probably my go-to foundations, and I know I'm getting a mini in my next Ipsy bag, so you'll be seeing that within the next week or so and stuff. I'm filming this actually a week prior from posting it, and yeah, so I personally, I don't know, I'm okay with this number. Would I like to get it down? Maybe, but I'm not unhappy with where we're at here, if that makes any sense. I don't really care as long as this number doesn't exceed 10. I'm okay and stuff. And I've pretty much stayed stable with this. The first year I ever did this, I had 6, and then the next year I climbed down to 2, and then mid-year last year I climbed up to 4, and now we are at 6. Concealer, I have 2 right now currently, and I'd like to keep that number pretty stable. There aren't very many concealers that I really feel I need or want. I feel I'm okay with just having even just 1. And last year I had 3, and then the years before that I had 2, so I'm okay with just having 2. I honestly don't really care to use a different concealer every day or a lot of the time, so I'm okay with having this as my number is 2, and if it climbs, cool. If it doesn't, that's fine too. Powder, I only have 1, and I'm okay with that. I have a sample right now. I will probably at some point pick up another powder. I was actually looking at them today because I don't know, I haven't found my tried and true powders. I usually jump around with the powders I use. So, and also on top of that, I'm planning on doing collection videos. So I think I'm going to do my base products videos that'll be primers, foundations, and concealers and powders. And then I'll probably do blush, highlight. I'm going to do that collection fairly soon. I'm going to do collections a couple times a month or mix those in with my normal content and stuff. I did do a vanity tour in September of 2020, but I definitely want to do more of a curated like show you different things I have in my collection. But yeah, I have one. I'm okay with it staying one or even jumping to two, but I definitely don't want to have more than probably two at a time, just because I feel like powder is very basic and I use the same thing a lot. Eye primer, I have one. I have the e.l.f. Putty Eye Primer. I really love that stuff. I only really see the need of having one eye primer at a time, so I'm going to keep that at one at all times. I always like to have an eye primer. Sometimes I'll use just concealer to prime my lids, but sometimes I do like somewhat of a tacky base, so I'm keeping that number pretty stable. Blushes, I have 10, and the year prior I had 8, and then in the beginning of the year I had 8, and then in 2019 I had 5, so this number has jumped. I'm not really unhappy with having 10 blushes. I feel like I get them sometimes in Ipsy videos, but I'm not really purchasing blushes on my own. I've only bought one blush and that was off Mercari. So I'm pretty happy with just 10. I don't really want it to exceed maybe 15, but I'm pretty happy with just having 10. Blush palettes, this is something I don't have anymore, so I did use up that blush palette in the end of 2019, so this is honestly something I'm not going to count anymore since I haven't had one in a while. So in future updates for this makeup inventory, I will not be mentioning that category. So bronzers, I have 3, and this one's tricky for me because I have this, I'll just show it to you. It's this like basically thing where you like twist it up, and then you have your bronzer, blush, and highlight. This is from Tarte, and I don't know whether to consider this one product or to count these separately. So I did count 3 bronzers, and I'm not really a huge bronzer girl. I do know one of those is sample size. One of them I got in Ipsy, and I have this that my mom gave me. And that product is something I've thought about panning recently, so we'll see if I actually end up doing that. But I technically have 3, if you count that as 3 different products technically, because if you took them separately they could be 3 different products. But I do have 3. I'm going to keep this number pretty stable. I don't plan on adding any bronzers into my collection. I don't even use bronzer that much anymore, which is why I'm kind of like iffy about it. Okay, so next, highlight palettes, aka face palettes. That's what I kind of wrote it as, if I spelt it wrong here, but that I'm counting is 2. So I have this like Smashbox one that was a collaboration with Casey Holmes. I actually have 2 of those, but technically one of them I'm not considering part of my collection since I don't like it anymore. I've decluttered it, even though I haven't given it away yet, but that's besides the point. I have that, and then I also have this like old school like Makeup Geek highlighter palette with Kathleen Lights. So yeah, I have 2. I don't really care for highlighter palettes because I just don't really think it's a waste, or I think it's a waste. Actually, this is 3 if we're counting face palettes, but I think I might have put contour palettes as another category, so maybe it's not. Next is highlights. I have 19. This number has climbed. In 2019 it was 10, then it became 16 last year in the beginning of the year, and then 15, and then 19 now. This number always climbs because I'm addicted to highlights. I just bought a new highlight, currently panning one, so this number will go down at some point in 2021. And then I'm also periodically getting them in Ipsy bags as long as I continue to subscribe to Ipsy. So this is a number I can see going up personally, but that's okay. I really do like highlights and I enjoy highlights. I just don't want this to get too crazy, so I'd say no more than 25, maybe 30 highlights. And I do even feel like I have too many highlights now, so I definitely will be working on that in project pans this year. Color correctors, that's something else I do not own anymore. I just don't find them to be too necessary, so that is another X in my collection. Okay, so single eyeshadows, I currently have 26. There's a couple I do want to like work through. Like I have more matte shades I want to work on in projects this year. But single shadows is something I'm trying to build my collection, but I'm trying to more so get more shimmers and more unique shades and stuff. And I'm going to be doing eventually a video on my single eyeshadow collection. But for now, I'm going to just probably post a picture on Instagram. I've been saying this for a few weeks, but I'm actually going to post a picture of the ones I have on my Instagram. So be sure to follow me over there at Katiexobeauty to see those. But that number has climbed. In 2019, I had 19, and then last year I consistently had 17, and then now I have 26. Palettes, This number actually went down, which is super impressive. As you guys know, with my pan lip palettes, it obviously had to go down eventually. But I started out in 2019 with 25, and then 33 in the beginning of 2020, 36 in mid 2020 with purchases and stuff like that. And now I have 34, which makes complete sense since I did use 2 palettes up in the end of 2020. And this is a number I know will go up, and I'm okay with that. As long as it doesn't exceed 100, I think I'm okay with that and stuff. And there's honestly lots of panning I want to do with that, but obviously I can only really go through and work on consistently 1 palette in a year. So that is a number over years I plan on getting down. We'll kind of see where I go with this, but palettes isn't like a number that's going to be decreased unless I were to do like declutter or something along the lines of that. But otherwise, that's how I'm feeling about that. So contour palettes, I do have one. I have this Tarte one, and I haven't used it in a while, which I'm debating on doing a Shop My Stash, which I actually think I'm highly considering doing one of those. I think those are always fun and stuff. So I think I am going to do one of those, like a monthly kind of one. I've done weekly before and that just doesn't work for me. So I think that is something I'm considering doing. I haven't done one in years, like 2017. So I definitely want to do that. Maybe not every month, like maybe I'll do it once a month, post that video once a month, take a month off and then do one again. I haven't really decided, but yeah, I have one contour palette. Gel, I have one, something I consistently will keep at one just because I only really need and use one at a time. Glitter glue, I have one, but I just repurchased the glitter glue I have because mine is like pretty much almost gone. Like it's getting down there. So, and it's also old. So I did repurchase, so I will technically have 2, but it's pretty much 1. Mascaras, I have 4. That is the number I want to pare down and stuff. I definitely won't be purchasing mascaras until I finish up all the ones I currently have in my collection and stuff. I'm working through all those samples. I think this number is actually going to go up to 5, so I'm actually going to change that to 5 because I'm getting one in an Ipsy bag. But this is something I will like. I'm working through going through my mascaras. I usually use them for 3 to 6 months. It depends. If it dries out in 3 months, I will get rid of it then, but that is something that I want to work through. Glitters, I have 3, and I definitely would like to work through those because I haven't really used those in a while. I don't use them on a frequent basis. And they do dry out eventually, so that is something I definitely want to work on. I feel like they were very hype in like 2017, very trendy, but now I'm kind of just over at that. Eyeliners, I have 3. I don't really use eyeliners since my eyes are very sensitive, but I do have 3 for when I do want to use them, and those I never go through, so I like to keep this number very pared down. Shadow sticks, I have 2. I'm not a big shadow stick kind of girl. I just don't really love those, so honestly I could see myself decluttering the ones I do have just because I'm not really big into it, but this is a number I'm going to keep pretty pared down, if not declutter all and just not have shadow sticks. So typical bullet lipsticks, I have 10. This number is going to consistently stay at 10 to 11. Just because I'm not really buying any right now, I'm kind of sticking to like keep my lip collection pared down. I did like one of my lipsticks is almost gone and it's also like messy because it broke. So I'm gonna repurchase that shade. It's my go-to shade. It's actually what I'm wearing on my lips right now. It's like my go-to nude from Tarte. It's in the shade Rum Punch and it's my favorite and I always have to have that one, so I'm gonna keep that at pretty much 10. When I repurchase it at that, it might go up to 11, but it's pretty much gonna consistently stay the same. So lip balms, I have 4. This is something I want to pare down just a tiny bit. I have an e.l.f. one I like that's tinted, and then I have a few like ones I've gotten Ipsy's that aren't my favorite. So I definitely will possibly unofficially pan, if not pan those this year. And that is something that I want to work on. That I've actually kept that number pretty consistent over the years because I started out with 4, and then I had 4 in 2020, and then I had 3 at the midpoint, and then I have 4 again. So that's interesting. Lip liners, I have 2. That's something I don't really use lip liners. Like, I feel like a lot of people are like, oh my god, lip liners, love. And I'm just like, I don't need it. And I honestly don't think I need it. I've started at 7. I panned one last year. I think maybe 2. So it's definitely something that I'm working through and working on. And I'm going to keep consistently at 2. Lip oils, I have 0. So this is another part. Technically, I did buy a ColourPop lip oil, but I'm almost going to categorize it as a gloss because I feel like that's what it's going to be, but that's besides the point. Liquid lipsticks, I have 15. In 2019, I had 37. I had 36 in 2020. Midpoint, I had 31, and now I have 15. A lot of mine did go bad recently, so I did throw those out. And this is a number I'm going to keep very consistent. I'm not buying liquid lipsticks anymore because I don't find them to be comfortable. And it's just not something I like to wear. So I'm trying to mostly work through my collection and hopefully use some of the ones up I have up. But I'm just not like a huge fan of liquid lips. Like, just not for me. So glosses, I have 5. I started out in 2019 with 18, which is crazy. I then selected that down to 8 in 2020. Mid-year I had 5 and I still have, but I actually purchased 2 more, so that's actually going to be 7 now I think about it. So I've gone up a little bit, but glosses are my favorite and I'm currently panning that one, so it's pretty much going to stay consistent, if not go down a little bit, and I'm okay with that. I love glosses so freaking much. I became super obsessed with them, especially last year in 2020, so I'm gonna, you know, stick with that. I have pigments. I have 1. I want to keep it at 1. I honestly don't even use the one I have. I wish ColourPop would come out with more because that's where I get them from, but I'm not a huge pigment girl, but I do want to experiment with the one I do have just so I can get use out of it, but it's not my thing. Setting sprays, I currently have 0. I just haven't found a setting spray I really like. And stuff. I'm debating trying the Urban Decay All Nighter again. I haven't tried it in a couple of years, but I always found that I didn't feel like it did really a lot for my skin. So I'm really debating on that. Maybe I'll get like a deluxe size before getting a full size, but I'm just not feeling that right now. But setting sprays, yeah, not feeling it. I did have 0 in 2019, and then in 2020 I had 1. 2020 I also had 1, and now I have 0. Actually in 2020 I had 2, then 1. Okay, so brow pencils, I have 1. I've consistently had 1 in 2020 and then now, and I use it sometimes. It kind of depends, especially my eyebrows get kind of unruly. I pretty much use it more, like especially in my inner part of my brows, but I'm not like a huge brow pencil girl, so I don't really use them that much. Illuminators, I just added this, but I have 1. I think I've had them in the past. I didn't really want to count the illuminator I have as a highlighter because it's not a highlighter, but that's how that is. Yeah, this is my makeup inventory for 2020. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know how your collection is doing. Are you going a little crazy? Do you have like way too much makeup? Do you have to declutter? Let me know. I'd love to hear about it. And be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, because I post videos every single week and I post beauty, lifestyle, and panning. I have so much content coming for you this year and I'm really excited about it. So be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, thank you so much for watching and I will see you in my next video. Bye.